News360, hello, good evening. A very warm welcome to News360. This is our major news bulletin for the day. I am Bawku.
And I am Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Coming up tonight.
News360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Reuters report reveals Islamist militants fighting in Burkina Faso are using Ghana's north as a logistical and medical base to sustain their insurgency.
Also coming up, latest Afrobarometer reports puts the police, the presidency, tax officials, and members of parliament as most widely perceived as corrupt.
NPP parliamentary candidate for Zebila suspends campaign over renewed threats to reignite peace in Bawku.
In business, US-based economist Dr. Sadi Drisu raises concerns over Ghana's rising debt levels despite IMF's positive growth forecast of 4% for 2024.
And later on the foreign front, 3 Lebanese journalists killed in Israeli strike. We've got details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
Let's tackle further details now. An MPP parliamentary candidate for Zebila constituency, Dr. John Kingsley Krugu, has suspended his campaign and all party activities due to concerns over the Bawku crisis and its potential impact on the Kusok traditional area. This decision comes after Alhaji Seydou Abagri, who was reportedly enskined as a rival Bawku Naba by the Nayiri, returned to Bawku, sparking tension. In February 2023, government condemned the enskinment of Alhaji Seydou Abagri, recognizing Grand Asigiri Abugrago Azoka II as the legitimate Bawku Naba. The government also directed security agencies to arrest and prosecute anyone claiming to be Bawku Naba to ensure the region's stability. The NPP parliamentary candidate is urging security agencies to arrest and prosecute Alhaji Seydou Abagri should he and his assigns act or insinuate in any way to suggest that he holds himself out as Bawku Naba. Should the government fail to act on time, Dr. John Kingsley Krugu says he will further take steps to protect life and property in the Kusok traditional area. Let's go on to the phone lines now and speak to our Upper East Regional correspondent, Castro Senyala, for more on this particular one. Castro, good evening to you. Now talk to us about the situation in Bawku following the renewed gunshots we understand happened yesterday.
Right, Aisha, I was in Bawku the whole of today, and I can report that Bawku is cool and calm, except that the usually brisk nature of Bawku, where we have a lot of movement within the town, was lost. A few people could be seen moving around, going about their duties, but not so much as we always see in Bawku. Some shops were also closed, and we got to understand that yesterday's shooting incident that lasted overnight accounts partly for most of the closed shops and the absence on major streets of the town. We understand that yesterday dawn, somewhere about, rival chief was brought into Bawku, and that has since sort of fanned tensions within the township, where we understand that a section of the people within the township aren't too happy about the development. But then I have also been in close touch with security agency personnel within the Bawku area who tell me that irrespective of the situation, they are on top of their game to ensure that the issue doesn't escalate into conflict or disturbances, whereby it will throw the area further down. Maybe the disturbances as state security agencies and actors try as much as possible to contain the Bawku situation.
Right, Castro, we also have information the NPP candidate has suspended his campaign. And we also know that the NDC running mate has been to the same place. Did the situation affect her campaign?
Right, Aisha, yes. Today, the NDC running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opokwa Jemine, was in the region to go about her campaign activities. One of the places she wanted to touch base with and share the vision of the NDC was the Bawku area. But then when news got to her team that yesterday experienced some gunshots, she had to reschedule. Initially, she wanted to call off the entire visit to Bawku, but then it appears a message had already been sent to the Bawku Naba. So she made a quick touch with him where he paid homage to the Bawku Naba, a quick one, and then also raised concerns over the security situation and called on the traditional authorities to do as much as possible to bring the situation under control and call a closure to the prolonged conflict. She also urged that security state agencies should do their best as far as bringing peace to the area is concerned. But then she wanted to do more campaign activities within the municipality, but because of the nature of the tense nature of the situation, the municipality, she had to quickly call off and she headed back to Bogatanga.
Castro, thank you very much for that update. Castro Senyala is our Upper East Regional correspondent who will keep an eye on happenings in Bawku and bring viewers all of the updates as and when we get them.
Right, Aisha. Now to our main story for the day, and reports say Islamist militants fighting in Burkina Faso are discreetly using Ghana's north as a logistical and medical rare base to sustain their insurgency. Experts say the country risks allowing extremists to deepen their roots, potentially drawing the country into West Africa's widening insurgency. Now, there's more in this report.
Northern Ghana is said to be quietly becoming a lifeline for Islamist militants wreaking havoc in Burkina Faso, serving as a shadowy logistical and medical sanctuary to fuel their insurgency across West Africa. 7 sources, including Ghanaian security officials and regional diplomats, revealed to Reuters that militants cross the border discreetly, stocking up on essentials like fuel and food, and even explosives, and seek treatment for their wounded in Ghana's hospitals. For now, Ghana's approach seems passive, but the risks are immense. Experts warn that this tolerance might be allowing militants to quietly establish roots, with some turning to local communities for potential recruits.
This is a worrying situation for all of us. I mean, of course, for security actors in this space. But it's not entirely new. The findings or what the report is indicating now, it's not entirely new. And the fact that some of these elements come in here to seek medical care, some of them through the injuries and critical health issues, and also for logistical mobilization.
Despite sharing volatile borders with Burkina Faso, Benin, and Togo, Ghana has, for the moment, escaped the fate of its neighbors. Analysts suggest that Ghana's status as a supply base and place of refuge for militants has deterred attacks on its soil.
Well, it may seem so because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. I mean, there's been talk about the possibility that Ghana is a major economic zone for these terrorists. They rustle cows, bring it into the country. They are able to sell it and make money. So I wouldn't be surprised that they are avoiding Ghana because they are using Ghana for other purposes.
Is it entirely good news? What are the downsides to what looks like a de facto non-aggression pact?
Well, it will be an indictment. It will be very unfortunate to, as it were, have such a pact with terrorists. Terrorists have no friends, okay? They have interest. So today, their interest might be using us as a withdrawal point, using us for economic activities. But the fear is we might lose our usefulness very soon and they would come after us. That is why we have to work very hard, especially with other countries, through the sharing of intelligence and dealing with the socio-economic and geopolitical deficits that is creating that enabling environment for terrorism to thrive.
Burkina Faso, with a shared 600-kilometer border with Ghana, is drowning under the relentless wave of insurgency spreading like wildfire.
Right, we can now speak to Emmanuel Bombande, who's a security analyst and formerly executive director of the West African Network for Peace Building. Thank you for your time. Now, some security experts have rubbished the report suggesting that these are only attempts to create a state of fear and insecurity and ultimately to compel Ghana to buy weapons. What do you say about this?
Thank you so much and good evening. I want to suggest that I wouldn't call myself a security expert, but let me make the contribution that you so much desire. So I listened to the researchers from the Cleandel Institute when he came on China Global Television Network this evening. And it's interesting that in his live interview, he doubles down much deeper than the report that is being referred to. So very quickly, there are two levels that I want us to consider. There is a security angle, and that security angle basically is what you are concerned about and interviewing people. Now, where did that come from? It comes from a July report, and I listened to one of your panelists or one of the contributors suggest that this is not new. So the first thing is, why is a report that was done in July now getting such currency in almost in November as we are preparing for elections in December? So questions then begin to come out in terms of the timing and in terms of the real intentions of this report. The second is the report is entitled A Beacon of Democracy, trying to suggest that around a sub-region in which there is so much vulnerability, Ghana stands out. But what it actually does at the end of the day is to undermine the very democracy that it is seeking to support. And I will try to be quick because I know I don't have much time. Because it talks about office, the country's political competitive system is contributing to instability. But since the Fourth Republican Constitution, there has never been any process to our elections without it being competitive. So what I'm drawing here is people are underrating that in Ghana, we are developing our own democratic culture in which you cannot read the competitive level of our democracy to be the reason for instability. And you cannot then take that to provide good reason why we are basically vulnerable to a terrorist attack, which then leads us to the other points that they raise, the marginalization of the Fulani, chieftaincy disputes and all that. These things are not new. But let me come to the point. Do these then justify that Ghana, particularly the northern regions, is a safe haven for Jenin, an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group in the Sahel?
And your response to that is?
My response to that is simple. The inference is completely very difficult to appreciate in the sense that, one, the communities along the entire northern border with Burkina Faso, there is a lot of cross-border activity for social, commercial, and other reasons, even including people coming into Ghana to seek medical help. But that has been there with people like us when we were boys growing up. It does not mean when you see people from Burkina coming into Ghana, you associate them with jihadis.
I appreciate your point. I'm afraid we don't have much time on this, and you know that as well. Thank you very much. But my final question to you before I let go of you is whether or not Ghana is ready to deal with any of these threats.
But the problem is, I was developing my point because I wanted to then link it to the second aspect, which is the political decision.
If you could make that very snappy, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. Our government is directly being accused of double dealing with jihadis. And government should take this very seriously and deal with it. Because the implication is that government in itself that is preoccupied with the protection of the people of Ghana is at the same time the one undermining not only our national security, but our sovereignty, including the fact that we are the host of the Accra Initiative and should be the leader and in the forefront of the fight against terrorism. How can our government be accused of this double dealing? And I want to conclude on this. The same accusation was made in 2020 against the government of Kabore. And it then appeared later on that there was such a dealing for him to have the elections organized. And then afterwards, the terrorists then attacked in venomous ways that led to the complete downfall of the government of Kabore. And since then, Burkina has been unstable. So our government ought to take this very seriously and look for all the diplomatic channels to get to the bottom of it, because they are basically being accused of double dealing with jihadist groups.
I'm afraid we've got to end it here. Thank you very much. Mr. Emmanuel Bombanda is a security analyst and formerly executive director of the West African Network for Peace Building. We can now speak to Dr. Palgrave Boache Dankwa, who is government spokesperson on security and governance. Thank you very much, Dr. Palgrave, for your time. We do understand that there was a meeting of security chiefs all day today, a meeting over this latest development. What can you tell us? Hello, Palgrave.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very loud and clear. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and to state that a lot of what happens in the security environment is on a need-to-know basis. And so what we are aware, and I'm glad that Emmanuel Bombadi has set the record straight, is that, these are issues and letters that came out in July, and so we are wondering how a topical conversation is being arisen as a result of conversations that happened in July. But it still states very clearly that our borders are safe, to let the Ghanaian people know that whatever threats that there are against us in relation to terrorism, we have a lot more tools that have been deployed in place at the various border towns. We have a lot more security personnel in place in the border towns to resist any attack or threat. And so the report is inaccurate. It's not a representation of what is happening now in this country leading up to the December election, and in terms of the peace and security and sustainability within the northern part of the country.
So you're suggesting essentially that although there are counter-arguments to this report from Reuters, that it's only a smear campaign to create a state of fear in Ghana, you don't take it with a pinch of salt, do you?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are always on ground receiving intel. We are aware that every now and then when the people of Burkina Faso bring in items through our ports in terms of what they need for the livelihood of their country, and they have challenges, they ask us to be able to help them. And so in those regards, if we need to be able to help because of our bilateral relationship, we come in as a government to be able to help them. But there's no way our government is either hosting or fostering to host terrorists within our country. And I think that we should be able to disregard that to the barest minimum.
All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much. Dr. Palgrave Boache Dankwa is government spokesperson on security and governance. You're still watching News 360.
And also to one of our headline stories, latest Afro Barometer report puts the police, the presidency, tax officials, members of parliament, and judges and magistrates as most widely perceived as corrupt. However, the top 4 public institutions considered as most trusted are the Ghana Armed Forces, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and non-governmental organizations. Presenting the findings at a forum in Accra today, Director of Research at the Center for Democratic Development, Dr. Edem Salome, said it is worrying that 3/4 of Ghanaians say the level of corruption in Ghana increased somewhat or a lot over the past year, a 3 percentage point decline compared to 2022.
Perceptions that Ghanaians have about the key institutions of democracy, be it magistrates, tax officials, the presidency, even MPs, that trust level is declining over time. And as you saw in the presentations, we've had a time frame, where we've asked these questions. And the over time trend doesn't look good. It means that the institutions that are supposed to hold democracy, make democracy work, they are not, the perceptions that citizens have about them is not improved at the time. Is that we see regime change in the trend. If you look at data from 2012 even to 2024, which is a 12-year span, the different regimes that have come into place. But that trust that citizens have in institutions is declining. So similarly with corruption, the level of perceived corruption in institutions like the police, who have topped the charts, all these years that we've been conducting barometers and surveys, haven't changed. They're still at the top. But we've seen new entrants like, people in the office of the president. You even see electoral commission in there. It's an election year. Why would people think that electoral commission is corrupt? And these are concerning. For me, these are some of the findings that, jump me as somebody who works in an organization that promotes governance, and democratic governance.
So we put together some highlights of this Afro Barometer report. Let's bring that to your screen shortly. Who is corrupt is the question that was being asked. The respondents were asked how many of the following people you think are involved in corruption, or haven't you heard enough about them to say? And the police had 63%, Office of the Presidency 54%, tax officials 53%, members of parliament 51%, judges and magistrates 44%. The Electoral Commission had 43%. The Metropolitan Municipal or District Chief Executives had also had 43%. The Civil Servants 39%. Assemblymen and women 31%. Business executives at 31%. Traditional leaders also came through with 29%. And then public media journalists, 24% of people thought they were corrupt. And then religious leaders, 21%, private media journalists, 21%, non-governmental organizations, 18%.
Reminder to watching News 360. This is our major news bulletin for the day. If you feel strongly about any of our top stories this hour, I encourage you to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook or X and share comments with us. Now, reconstruction works have begun on the Saikope Bridge on the Adidome Juapon Road in the Central Tong District, following its collapse in January this year. The collapse of the bridge, which happened in the wake of the Akonsombo Dam spillage disaster, has created several inconveniences to motorists along that stretch. My colleague Faisal Abdul Idrisu has more in the following report.
The collapse of the 100 meters bridge built over a stream on the Adidome to Juapon Road has impacted the free movement of motorists and people in the most part of communities along the stretch who rely on the road as a major transit route. Since the collapse in January, vehicles have been forced into using alternative but longer routes, leaving local residents with no other option than to rely on the services of canoe operators across the stream in order to access major towns on either side.
Every Monday, I have to cross with the motorbike from here to Follow before I can visit my customers. Whenever it's raining, we can't cross. Yeah, and then also some of the kids around here, they are no other experience to be carrying us along. So it's just really a whole lot of problems for everyone.
I normally take Metro Mass, but now you have to take car to Adidome. You take moto 15 cities. Then you cross the river Akalakpa, other 2 cities before you take another motor to Titikope before you cross. So there are a lot of difficulties.
We are happy that they are coming to do the bridge. Those who are suffering, they are more than us. After constructing the bridge, we will go back to school because our work here is stopped.
District Chief Executive for Central Town, Thomas Monsunya, in an interview with TV3 News, shed more lights on the reconstruction works and announced that work is scheduled to be completed in 3 months.
We are trying to expand on this size of the bridge. We'll make it dual carriage this time around, increase the reinforcement, especially the reinforcing materials, the iron rods and the concrete piece, so that it can take more weight.
What used to be an easy ride across the bridge here at Saikope has now been complicated following the collapse of the bridge. Now that reconstruction works have started, road users are urging government to fast-track the construction works to ensure free flow of vehicular traffic. Faisal Abdulidrisu, TV3 News, Saikope.
Another High Court has acquitted and discharged a 54-year-old man after spending 17 years in prison without trial. Jabba Donle was earlier declared mentally unfit to stand trial, but after nearly 2 decades, he's expected to be reunited with his family. Upper West Regional Correspondent Ibrahim Wangara has more in the following report.
54-year-old Jabba Donle spent nearly 2 decades in the dark corridors of the West Central prisons without trial for the alleged murder of his younger brother during his period of mental instability. He was placed under presidential pleasure, a sentence where he was to remain in custody until declared mentally fit to stand trial. Jabba Donle never got the opportunity to be tried. For 17 years, he remained in prison custody forgotten. Through the effort of ASP Majid Al-Hassan, he was acquitted and discharged by the court.
Answer patrol! One discharge!
Regional Commander of the West Central Prisons is Assistant Director of Prisons, Engineer James Meneyala.
We have been here for so many years. Under the category of presidential pleasure. It was my view that this gentleman ought not to rot in prison. That one of the 3 core values of prison service is humanity. We have a humanity, vigilance and fortitude. These are 3 core values. We are all human beings. If you have a brush with the law, as a state and all of us, you should be treated as a human being. And this goes to show that all of us who are in this enterprise, which is the criminal justice delivery system, if we work a lot more collaboratively, then some of the inmates that don't need to be in custody will not be there.
But what does the discharge of Jabba mean, and on what legal parameters was he acquitted? Upper West Regional Director of Legal Aid Commission, lawyer Crispin Wuro provided some perspective.
Because he had been in here for the past 17 years, and when I inquired from the prison authorities, they could not immediately tell me the last time he was taken to court. They could not immediately tell me the records that were available, documentary records that were available for us to study and then be able to take up the matter from there.
A reminder, you're still watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We've got to take a quick break now. We'll return with the very latest in the world of business.
One bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. One bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia #1 on the ballot.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
I love President Charcoal.
Why?
When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste.
That's both charcoal and lemon.
Oh, does it?
Yes, look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles. For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal.
The Ghana Stock Exchange's vision is to be a world-recognized securities market relevant to Ghana and indeed Africa's economic transformation. We are bringing our vision to life by providing platforms for the private sector and public institutions to raise the patient capital necessary to fund their growth.
In terms of governance, opening up a shareholding structure to different types of shareholders, Ghanaians and some foreigners, it's created an environment where the governance structure of the bank has improved significantly. It's being of great benefit to the bank.
Papa Sammy, I beg if you find something small, give us.
Bro Sammy, you see, nobody say boys no one do nothing and just they rely on handouts. Just no deal.
I understand the hassle. Hope they come. John Mahama, they come do the National Apprenticeship Program where he go sort you guys.
Brother Sammy, waiting with that.
John Mahama knows say no be everybody way won't work for office.
Like me.
I want this.
Under the National Apprenticeship Program, young men and women where they won't learn craft will be enrolled under the program and attached to a senior craftsman who will train them for free.
I beg you, mechanic day inside. Me like this. I don't want to learn mechanical, but the course no.
Mechanics day inside. Organizing, dressmaking, fabric making, catering, hairdressing, tiling, painting. What they even sweet about this whole thing is say when you plead, the NDC government go make sure say they go give you certificate where you go fit take go look for job anywhere.
That's sweet. That's be wonderful.
Another wonderful thing be say when you plead, the NDC government go set you up with startup capital and equipment to make sure you can start your own business.
Wow! I dey go shopping my town wait 7th December.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Looking for a bank to rely on. Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. Wouldn't we sit to bank be no lie. Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve 10 cause. Every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here on the date. I'm a busy person, me no need time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. You tell me office a chilling, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first.
Nobody feel do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
Thank you for staying with us on News 360. Before we bring you some business, let's bring you this news just in. Lecturers at the University of Ghana have voted to reject the National Executive Council's decision to suspend the anti-Galamsey strike, and 56% voted to continue the strike. So let's find out more. We have on the line Dr. Jerry Harrison. He is the UGU TAG Secretary. Doc, good evening and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening and thanks for having me.
Can you tell us why the association came to this decision?
Well, UTAG has a process, and the process is that members have to vote to decide whether to call strike or not. And so what we did is for members to express their views on what directive NEC had given. And what our members are saying is that no, they do not agree with NEC's decision to suspend the strike. And so UG has voted to reject NEC's decision. That's effectively what it means. It means that UG doesn't agree with NEC's decision to suspend the strike.
So the association is continuing the strike until when?
Yes, so right now what is going to happen is that the National Elections Committee chair will be collating all the results from the various campuses as they come in, and then he will tally, and then at the end of the day, what our members across the 15 campuses are saying would be the final decision, and that we will know by Monday.
Were you part of next meeting, and were you able to tell them all of these grievances?
Well, yes. I mean, we've all been part of next processes, and at any point in time, some people disagree, some people agree.
Right.
But in the end, the collective decision is what was communicated to members. And so, again, whatever the final decision is by our members, NEC will meet again, and then we'll communicate to the public what our members are saying, and whether to suspend the strike or to continue. So we will just stand by and wait for our members to decide, and then we'll communicate to the public.
Definitely, Doc, and I'm sure we'll talk to you in subsequent bulletins for more on this. Dr. Jerry Harrison is UG-UTAC Secretary, and he's been speaking to us about the University of Ghana National Executive going against the National Executive Council's decision to call off their strike, and we'll bring you more in subsequent bulletins. So you definitely have to be on the watch at 10 p.m. For Ghana tonight as well. Business News is up next.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.
West Hills Ridge Property, Eden Heights.
Good evening and welcome to the business segment on News360. My name is Menu Afo. Now to our stories, US-based economist Dr. Saad Idrisu has expressed alarm over the country's escalating debt levels, projected by the IMF to exceed 82% of GDP. While he welcomes the IMF's revised growth forecast for Ghana to 4% in 2024, he cautioned that it should not come at the cost of deepening debt distress.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has revised Ghana's 2024 economic growth forecast from 3% to 4%, citing stronger than expected economic resilience and recent policy measures. Director of the IMF African Department, Abebe Selassie, disclosed this adjustment during the launch of the Regional Economic Outlook report in Washington, D.C., on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank annual meetings.
At that time, our projections were 3% in Ghana. The team subsequently went out, of course, to Accra, and as is always the case, did updated projections, and I think we're now projecting closer to 4%. So had the deadline been mid-October, I think the 4% number would have been the one that would have shown in the WEO print.
The IMF has, however, projected that Ghana's debt-to-GDP ratio will rise to 83% by the end of 2024, according to its October fiscal monitor report. Reacting to the recent projections, US-based economist Dr. Saad Idrisu expressed alarm over the country's escalating debt levels, urging the government to prioritize domestic revenue mobilization and improve tax collection, particularly in the informal sector.
Total revenue mobilization has only marginally increased to around 16%. It means government is not doing well with revenue collection in the country. We have to go back to how revenue is collected, look at how to be able to seal all the loopholes in revenue collection, and also find alternatives in taxing the informal sector. It will help government to be able to reduce its borrowing.
In more stories, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has reassured that government will maintain strict fiscal discipline to avoid a return to unsustainable debt levels. Speaking at the IMF World Bank annual meetings, he described Ghana's recent domestic debt exchange as a painful exercise and outlined plans for fiscal reforms, including amendments to fiscal responsibility laws and the establishment of an independent fiscal council.
The domestic debt we did was a very painful exercise. And
what is the experience of living with that kind of debt?
Yeah, it was a very painful exercise. Very painful exercise because people did not expect that. And so to have taken the people of Ghana through this painful exercise has meant that they had to sacrifice beyond what many people could do. And because of that, they are demanding fiscal discipline. They are demanding fiscal stability. And that is why it will be very difficult to go back to the era of unsustainable debt. The second measure we're putting in place is the implementation of far-reaching structural reforms, to build our resilience. And one of the structural reforms relate to the fiscal responsibility legislation. We are seeking amendments to the existing fiscal responsibility legislation to impose debt limits on ourselves. And we are also putting in place a fiscal council that will ensure compliance with the fiscal rules.
Away from that, the German Agency for International Cooperation and the Ghana Enterprises Agency have launched the inaugural Ghana Inclusive Business and Inclusive Green Business Forum. This initiative seeks to identify companies with promising inclusive business and inclusive green business models, which will then be certified by the Association of Ghana Industries.
Inclusive green business focuses on environmentally sustainable practices while promoting social equity by engaging low-income communities as suppliers, distributors, customers, or employees. It aims to address environmental challenges while achieving commercial viability. AGI Chief Executive Seth Chum Akwabwa emphasized that this initiative aims to ensure that businesses' operations benefit both community and the environment.
The whole idea is that while doing business and making money, do good to society, do good to your environment, do good to your community, and through that means your business will become more sustainable. Those who are supplying the inputs to you, you are encouraging them, you are giving them some support. If it is training, if it's equipment, if it's technology, you are helping them, you are empowering them such that they can constantly supply to you.
Head of Program at GIZ, Dr. Christian Jan, highlighted his outfit is working to incentivize firms that attain inclusive business certification.
Well, this is already going on for almost a year now, and we will continue with this approach next year, where we have a second round of accreditation of inclusive businesses, where we develop also incentive system for those. And we're looking there also for other partners, then that it will be really a broader program.
Well, that's how we wrap up the business segment on News 360. My name is Menu Afo. Please stay with us. Sports News is up next.
Thank you, boss. See you next week. Yo, where do my passport? Where is my passport? Hey, man, I want to Waba.
What is that?
And then
give me my passport. You made me pay for express for 24 hours, and yet it's not in.
You told me that you are telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours, he'll do my passport for me.
Oh, see, that's the same thing applies to me. He told me last night. He's telling me this week. Process. That's what they do. Yeah. Oh, madam. Please relax. I'll get for you in 24 hours. Hey, Goro man. So you never change? Eh? You get passport for someone within 24 hours, Madam Obwa. See, the normal working hours is 9 to 5. Eh? Not 24 hours, I'm fat. I'm fat. You guys have made a very big mistake by trusting these people. Now, through digitalization, passport application has been made so easy. Now, you don't need to stress yourself and join any long queue for your passport. All you have to do is to log on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website and begin your application. By buying a passport application voucher online. Simple and easier. And very soon, all you need to get your passport will be your Ghana card. What is it true? Obisa.
It is possible. Assure vote number 1 on the ballot.
Today, we thank you very much for your invaluable service to this great company, and we wish you well on your retirement.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Happy retirement, Lay.
Thank you very much.
So are you staying or you are going back to Ghana?
I'm going back home, of course.
Wow. You really built?
I've got a home at Lakeside Estate.
Really?
Lakeside Hills is a dream come true, a community designed for all stages of life. Whether you're a growing family needing more space, a young professional looking for convenience, or someone seeking a peaceful retirement, Lakeside Hills has it all. With 2, 3, and 4 bedroom homes, there's something for everyone.
That's impressive. Exactly what I'm looking for. I have to start saving towards this.
See you back home.
Lakeside Hills, it's not just a place to live, it's a place to thrive.
Sanlam and Allianz is now Sanlam Allianz, Africa's largest insurer.
After this fufu and pepper soup, I go score goals like them the dash points.
Kibo 100% natural hot pepper. Good for your jollof, stew, soup, shito, spaghetti, and noodles. Kibo hot pepper. Moko show.
I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 100% natural hot pepper. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia, number 1 on the ballot.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News360. My name is Bill Ishen. Now on to our first story. While some Ghanaian players earned nominations for the CAF Awards, none made the top 10 for the biggest prize, the Men's Player of the Year. We looked back at the last set of Ghanaians who came close to winning it.
There was no Ghanaian in the top 10 of the Africa Player of the Year for 2024, but this was rare some years ago. While there has been no Ghanaian winner of the most coveted individual award in Africa football since the last of Abedi Pele's 3 in 1993, there was a time when Ghanaian presence in the final 3 was given. Like with everything else, the last Ghanaian in the top 3 of the awards was Andre Ayew, who finished behind Yaya Toure and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in 2015. Ayew, whose father, Abedi, was the last Ghanaian to win the honor, also finished in the top 3 in 2011. Before him, Asamoah Gyan had come mightily close in 2010 off the back of his form for Ghana at the 2010 Nations Cup and World Cup, but was beaten to it by Samuel Eto'o after his Champions League triumph with Inter Milan. It was the first and only time Gyan made the top 3. Mike Lassian was in the top 3 5 straight times between 2005 and 2009 without winning it. The closest he came was a runner-up to Frederick Kanute in 2007. Who in the current generation do you think can bring it home?
To our next story, it's been 5 years since Kurt Okreku assumed office as the president of the Ghana Football Association. Since his appointment as the head of the FA, there's been numerous high and low moments for Ghana football. Some sports journalists gave a comprehensive breakdown of Kurt's tenure, highlighting the positives and the negatives.
Look at it carefully and you would want to give them credit for a few things. For instance, the women's game. I think they've done well. trying to put it on a high pedestal. I mean, we've had issues with sponsorship now. As we speak, there's no headline sponsor. There was a sponsor along the line. By the time the season ended, we were told that they will not be part of the competition again. On that score, I think it's been difficult.
Well, in terms of play, I haven't seen growth in any of the footballing spectrum. Talk about the juvenile football, both men and women. Talk about the league, Division 1, Division 2. I have my own parameters for judging or seeing the performance indicators of a football administration. To be very honest with you, I haven't seen growth, real growth in any of these areas of football development. Those I've mentioned are quite clear, but in terms of growth in national team play or the leagues or the other regional and juvenile football associations, I haven't seen that.
Now we have some Ghana Premier League action coming your way this weekend, starting from Legon Cities versus Accra Lions, which is currently 0-0 at the Legon Stadium. Also, we have Idiana versus Midiama, Bechem United versus Karela, Heart of Lions versus Nsratreman, Heart of Folk versus BBNE Gold Stars, Holy Stars versus Asante Kotoko, Nations FC versus Bishan FC, Samatex versus Brekum Chelsea, and Young Apostles versus Dreams. You have more info on this on GPL Express, airing on Saturday at 2 p.m. on TV3. And that's how we bring an end to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Ishen. We have entertainment coming up next.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawku #1 on the ballot.
Come on. Let's go. Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time. Yeah, that's perfect. She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
There is a business in every woman. And then she works, juggling all that matters to her in seeming effortlessness. One thing is for sure, there is a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Accelerate your growth with finance and investment initiatives. Extend your reach with a free business website, access to digital and physical marketplace. Be empowered through exclusive networking and thought leadership platforms. Enjoy bonus reward with our Red Loyalty and lots more. To benefit from this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
Every child is so unique.
You like no other.
Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play.
You like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. You like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, Remember, you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy. I love my Indomie.
This advert is FDA approved.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawku #1 on the ballot.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by
Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening. Let's do some entertainment news updates here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, starting on the international front, American rapper Cardi B has threatened to pursue legal action following an anonymous prank call made to Child Protective Services, which caused an unwarranted late-night visit to her house by the service. Cardi B expressed her annoyance and frustration on the matter in an Instagram live session on October 22. The anonymous caller alleged her children were being abused and beaten, prompting a late-night visit to her home from CPS and law enforcement. Cardi B condemned the prank as irresponsible and disturbing, particularly given her status as a minority in her neighborhood. The rapper vowed to hire a top private investigator to identify the prankster, stressing that her children's well-being and her motherhood will not be compromised. Now to some more stories. Ghanaian reggae artist and media personality Black Rasta says money deducted from your account after voting for awards is ridiculous and should be discouraged. The outspoken singer pushed for peer review of award schemes to honor and celebrate excellence in the entertainment industry.
Remember, I returned all the awards I won for the past 20 years that I've been singing and more because of one reason. You pay money to vote before you win an award. In Ghana, you are told to vote as many times as possible. Now it's all about the money and never about your talent anymore.
In 2019, Black Rasta born Abubakar Ahmed cautioned award schemes in the country to exclude him from their events if fans have to vote with the money to decide winners. 5 years on, the outspoken reggae artist is glad he pioneered the revolution.
I'm happy that a lot of them are beginning to put on their thinking caps and they are pulling out the voting part of the thing. When I started talking about it seriously, many saw me as the demon. They are putting the business ahead of the talent. It's very sad. Vote as many times as you can. That's why when Stonebwoy and Shatawale clashed on stage and they asked Stonebwoy to return the plaques that he had won on the 9th, he said, Lai, you know how much money I raised to vote? 50,000 Ghana cedis. We contributed as a Shaiman, and all of us sat down and voted to win these awards. In other words, we bought this award. If you want me to bring the plaques, bring back my 50,000.
The popular media personality underscored the need for amendments to be made to the way most local award schemes are structured in order to honor deserving talents.
They should go beyond just the submission and get industry people for a peer review awards. That's what the Grammy is doing, peer review. Establish a certain membership of only industry people so that when it's time to pick the album, you let them sit and have what is known as a peer review. You are judging your own colleagues.
Black Rasta, who has submitted his 20-track Salaga Soldier album for Grammy consideration, told 3 Entertainment that he will only accept awards based on the decision of a voting academy.
Well, the Grammy is not 100%, but it is far and way beyond what we have in our country of just being monetized. Money, 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 money. Big shame.
Well, that'll be all for the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Do have a wonderful weekend.
International news is up next.
3 Lebanese journalists have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on the building known to be housing reporters in southeastern Lebanon. The attack was carried out on a guest house in a compound in Hasbaya being used by more than a dozen journalists from at least 7 media organizations, with a courtyard containing cars clearly marked with press. The 3 men worked for broadcasters Al Manar TV and Al Mayadeen TV, which issued statements paying tribute to their killed employees. Lebanon's information minister said the attack was deliberate and described it as war crime. The Israeli military has not yet commented, but has previously denied targeting journalists.
Well, that's how we conclude News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Hale. Just Us Tonight is up next with Nashoko.